Hey, basketball fans, what is going on? Harrison Graham here from Chat Sports. Lots of juicy NBA rumors, news, some beef between some former Lakers greats. We're going to get into all of that on today's show. But first, wanted to ask you guys a question. We're in the middle of the offseason, kind of gearing up for the preseason later in September, early October. Mid-October, the season officially starts. Who's your favorite NBA player of all time? Doesn't have to be active, can be a retired guy. My favorite, Dirk Nowitzki, just retired after this past season, based here in Dallas. Have followed Dirk's entire career. That's my favorite player. Want to hear your favorite player of all time in the comment section below. All right, let's get into the news, the rumors, starting with the juicy news item here. Arrest warrant out for DeMarcus Cousins. TMZ revealed damning audio against Cousins, a phone call between him and his ex-girlfriend, Christy West. We'll get into that quote here in just a second. She's also filing a restraining order against Boogie. Again, this arrest is out for Cousins. A misdemeanor domestic violence charge is the charge there. This was the quote during the conversation on the phone from Boogie. Very simple. I'm going to make sure I put a bullet through your effing head. And this is in response to Boogie's getting married. Him and his ex-girlfriend, Christy West, have a son together, and he asked her if his son would be at the wedding, if he could be at the wedding. She said no, and he said, I'm going to make sure to put a bullet through your effing head. That's problematic. Can't be saying that, DeMarcus Cousins. Obviously, he flipped out at Christy West. She also claims that he has choked her in the past. Not a good sign there either. Guys, his torn ACL, least of his problems right now. DeMarcus Cousins is dealing with a lot of issues right now. He's going to have to rehab that knee. Not going to play this season. Is having to deal with these charges now. Tricky offseason, to say the least, for DeMarcus Cousins. Which brings me to this question. Will Boogie ever play in another NBA game? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I think it's no. It was already tough for him to find a job this offseason amid all the injuries. Achilles tear, torn quad. Now he's got the ACL tear, not going to play this year. I just don't see it, man. We heard what Wojnarowski said this offseason. There's not a market for this guy. Obviously, the Lakers took a chance after missing out on Kawhi Leonard. I just don't see him playing in another NBA game, especially if these charges, this domestic situation, continues to get worse. But type Y for yes, type in for no. I think I'm typing my in for no when it comes to DeMarcus Cousins playing in the NBA ever again. Do you guys love the NBA? Make sure you subscribe to Chat Sports. Look, we're trying to get to 150,000 subscribers by the start of the NBA season. That's in mid-October. That gives us a couple of months here. But we want to get there sooner, right? So get us to 150K. We're about 15K away. We're approaching 135K. Let's get there so we continue to plug out these videos, news, rumors, scores, all kinds of shows for you guys here on Chat Sports. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. But if you're watching this video, just hit that big red button and subscribe. KOBE-SHAQ beef, or nah? These guys, look, we know the history between these two. They're never going to have a perfect relationship after Shaq left after the 2004 season. We know there was ego issues between these two, especially on Kobe's side of things. Recent comments came to light in which Kobe called out Shaq. Part of the quote, and we'll get to the full quote right here, is Kobe talking about Shaq on missing out on the potential of a longer partnership with these two. Quote, he'd be the greatest of all time, for sure. This guy was a force like I've never seen. It was crazy. A guy at that size, generally guys at that size are a little timid and they don't want to be tall. They don't want to be big. He was mean. He was nasty. He was competitive. He was vindictive. He was, I wish he was in the gym. I would have had 12 rings is what he is talking about there. So that was the comment that that came to light recently. Here was Shaq's response on Lakers 24 Ever Instagram post. They posted the comments from Kobe. Shaq replied with two comments. Here was the first one. You would have had 12 if you passed the ball more, especially in the finals against the Pistons. Hashtag facts. He also came back later, commented again, saying, you don't get statues by not working hard. So, yeah, I would say there's some beef, but then Kobe goes to Twitter after these tweets get made public, says, there's no beef with me and Shaq. I know most media see it, but it ain't going to happen. Ain't nothing but love there, and we too old to beef anyway. Hashtag threepeat. Shaq responded to his tweet, said, quote, it's all good, bro. When I saw the interview, I thought you were talking about Dwight. Is that how you spell his name, LOL? No, Shaq, that's not how you spell his name. It's D-W-I-G-H-T. But look, these were Kobe and Shaq, probably, if not for sure, the best duo ever. But it was cut short. From 99 to 04, they played in 4 finals, won 3 of them. Look at the numbers. 26 points per game for Kobe, 27 for Shaq. Shaq grabbing all the boards. He also blocked 2.5 shots per game. Kobe dished out 5 assists. Shaq dished out 3. Shaq was so dominant in the paint, 58% field goal percentage. Kobe's 46% guy. Shaq did win all 3 of those finals MVPs when they played together. But look, there's always going to be some level of beef between these two. My favorite is Kobe. Oh, there's no beef. After the comments come to light, there's clearly some beef, Kobe. Like, when you're saying I would have had 12 effing rings, like, yeah, there's beef there. You only ended up with 5, only won 3 together with Shaq. How many would these guys have won together had they stayed together? How many rings could these guys won together if they didn't split up? Keep in mind, Shaq was 31 after he left. So he was entering his 32-year-old season. So he was kind of starting. Peak Shaq had already come and gone. He was starting to decline a little bit. I do think they could have won 1, 2, maybe 3 more. But they were not dominating at the level they were by the time he left. There was clearly some ego issues there. I want to hear from you guys, though. How many rings would these two guys have won together if they did not split up? Let me know in the comments section. ISO Joe, is he making a return? 76ers are working him out. Look, Joe Johnson, 38 years old, won the Big 3 League MVP this summer. Ice Cube's League, if you guys have not heard this, I think it's pretty entertaining. Good summer programming. They come through Dallas every year. Didn't get to go this year, but he led the league in points, assists. I think he also led it in field goals made. They also have a 4-point shot in the Big 3, which I find very entertaining. Hit the most of those. Other teams are interested in working him out as well. We'll get to that list in just a moment. But look, these are his career numbers. 16 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, 37% three-point shooter. Was still effective for Utah when he played with them for a couple years ago. Good bench role guy for them. I think he could provide some veteran leadership and a bench role for a contending team. These are the teams that are interested in working him out. We know the 76ers are going to work him out. That's already being reported. Bucks, Clippers, Nuggets, Pelicans. I don't really get the Pelicans there. To me, it needs to be a team that could use a veteran bench presence. I don't think the Pelicans are quite ready to contend. I'm looking at contenders who need a bench scorer. That's what Joe Johnson can provide. I like the 76ers. They need some more shooting. I like that fit. Milwaukee, kind of in the same boat, can come play on that second unit. So I like those two. Clippers, he's more of an ISO guy. They already have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard who play a lot of isolation basketball. We know that second unit is loaded. I don't love that fit. Denver would be interesting, but again, I'm out on the Pelicans. But I'll ask you guys, would you want your team to sign Joe Johnson? Look, again, I think it's got to be a contending team. It needs to be a team doesn't have a ton of scoring punch off its bench. So that kind of limits you to 5 or 6 teams in the NBA. But let me know if you would want your team to sign Joe Johnson in the comments below. A couple of news items here as we continue. Wilson Chandler suspended 25 games for violating the PED policy. Look, his role was going to be to help fill that void with Kevin Durant out this year. Wilson Chandler certainly not what he was earlier in his career, but missing 25 games leaves the Nets front court a little thin. He will be able to participate in training camp and in the preseason. Here was Chandler's statement after getting the suspension. Quote, before I signed with the Nets, I was prescribed a treatment that included small doses of a substance recently added to the NBA's prohibited substance list. Did not realize this substance was banned, and neither did the doctor. I accept responsibility and apologize to my Nets teammates, coaches, front office, and fans, close quote. This is like the typical response, by the way. As you see his stats up there from last year, obviously not what he was. Good three-point shooter, though, was certainly going to be a key bench piece. But Wilson Chandler, this statement is so classic 2019. Like Golden Tate recently for the New York Giants in the NFL. Very similar statement. Like, they all say the same thing. They take this stuff, and then they're like, all right, if we get caught, this is what we're going to say. Like, it's so typical. So he's going to miss 25 games for the Nets. They're going to have to piece together that front court rotation through the first 25 games before he gets back again. Kevin Durant likely not going to play this year. Wilson Chandler out the first 25 games. Another news item here, Darius Miller, torn Achilles for the New Orleans Pelicans. Look, that's not a good sign for the Pelicans bench. He was a key bench piece for the Pelicans last year. Signed that 2-year, $14.5 million contract last season. Look at his numbers. 8 points, 2 boards, 2 assists, 37% field goal percentage. Not a key piece for the Pelicans, but still a guy that helps round out that bench. And with that second year being non-guaranteed, I don't think the Pelicans are going to re-up. They say he's going to be out 7 or 8 months. That's feeling a little generous for me, coming off a torn Achilles. If it is only 7 or 8, he could try to come back toward the end of the season. Torn Achilles, I just don't see it. I don't think he'll play this year. I doubt they renew that second year with it being non-guaranteed. Tough break for Darius Miller. All right, guys, it's National College Colors Day. I'm a big college football guy. Season kicking off tomorrow. As producer Tad is laughing at my wording there. What's your favorite college team? I went to TCU, so did producer Tad. We're fired up for football and basketball season. Let me know what your favorite college team is in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.